It's the 31st of October, so you know what that means. Happy Halloween, everybody. Oh, I'm sorry, you wanted a Happy Meal? Okay, here you go, bro. Here's your Happy Meal. So yes, if you couldn't already tell, I'm pretty sure it's obvious what my cosplay is for this year. I am cosplaying as every content creator in 10 years once the AI overlords take over. I'm just preparing myself in advance to make sure, you know, the uniform is warm before we begin our eternal shift. And if you know anything about Japan, which is the country that I currently live in, you'll know that Halloween has kind of been a big deal over the past, I would say, 5 years or so. Yes, for those of you who are unaware, Japan actually discovered Halloween only about 5-10 years ago. It's kind of crazy. And they did so in a pretty massive way, and I'm pretty sure if you know anything about Halloween Japan, you would have heard about this, but there is a particular section of Tokyo that celebrates Halloween in a big way with hundreds and sometimes thousands of people gathered out onto the streets and partying and drinking and having a good time. And that city, of course, is Shibuya. And listen, I love Shibuya. I love going out there to go shopping with my fiance. My favorite record store is out in Shibuya. And this year, me, my fiance, and a couple of our friends were supposed to go actually experience Shibuya Halloween. But unfortunately, it is raining like God just released his bladders for the first time in 3 months. And, you know, I may love some cosplay get-togethers out in the middle of Japan, but not enough to do so in the cold winter rain with hundreds of people surrounding me with umbrellas. Which is a shame, you know, because, like, I even bought this actual proper authentic McDonald's worker hat from some guy on Medukati, and even bought this, like, really cool McDonald's backpack, which I legitimately love. I might actually end up using this. So instead, I'm gonna have a chill night in, but I wanted to, I guess, give my 2 cents on the whole Shibuya Halloween kind of thing, because every time the spooky season does roll around, I feel like it's a contentious topic that gets brought back up from the dead. You know, a lot of Japanese TV shows are constantly talking about it. There's constantly articles talking about it every single year of the whole, should Japan ban Halloween? If you don't know, there's actually a term in Japanese now called Meiwaku Halloween, or a nuisance Halloween, because the locals over in the Shibuya ward have year in and year out complained endlessly to their local government and even sometimes the federal government on how much October 31st is like Armageddon to them. Honestly, I kind of have to sympathize with them, because if I imagine right now outside of my apartment there were hundreds, thousands of drunk idiots in costumes yelling loudly all throughout the night, some of them getting into all sorts of issues. Like a couple of years ago we had literal trucks flipped over. I think another year there was like a riot or something. Either way, if that was happening outside of my window every October 31st, yeah, I would probably start complaining as well. So because of the big pressure brought on by those locals, now Shibuya Halloween hasn't really turned into this big fun, yay, night out kind of deal. It has become quite controlled. There are a lot of places now where public drinking is just straight up outlawed. And from what I understand, every passing year they've become stricter on the rules of what you can do on the streets of Shibuya. Basically think of it as like trying to party at somebody's backyard, but with 50 security guards also lined up in the backyard, telling you every single time, hey, you're not allowed to drink there. Hey, your voice is producing too many decibels. Just constantly micro-policing every single movement to make sure that people can have fun, but also people aren't too much of a nuisance. Look, I'm not a huge party goer, but that doesn't sound fun at all. So then you're probably wondering, well then Joey, why did you think that this year would be the perfect time to go? Well, I was actually going to go to film a video out there, but obviously I don't want to get my very expensive camera wetter than a wet dog, so I thought, nah, screw that, we're gonna stay inside. And apparently, from what I have heard from some friends of mine who are locals of the Shibuya ward, they've actually slowly started to move Halloween out of Shibuya because of this over-policing. Because, you know, the whole Shibuya Halloween thing didn't actually start as some, like, big event. It was literally, from what I understand, a community-driven effort of just enough young people gathering to Shibuya and dressing up and having fun and drinking. And so we're going to go back to this question of should Japan ban Halloween? See, if it's run by a bunch of like drunk idiots who are going to flip over trucks and, you know, cause a nuisance to the locals, and from what I have also heard from some friends, a lot of really sussy bucker shit was happening with Japanese girls at some of these Shibuya Halloween events. Don't quote me on it, but I heard there was a lot of groping happening, which I don't think I have to tell you is fucking disgusting, so don't do that. But, you know, if the locals, you know, aren't too loud and they're not making a mess and they're being respectful and just having a good time amongst their peers, then I don't think Japan should outright ban Halloween. I've always said this to people, but Japan is the king of creating rules without actually enforcing rules. But of course, if you are a citizen of this country, you have to reform and get in line. Make sure you're following all of the rules, because the last thing you want to do is become a socially outcast weirdo who doesn't want to follow the rules and is going to get treated as an outsider. But more importantly, going back to Halloween, I think that Halloween is a great thing, especially Shibuya Halloween is a great thing, because it's a really, I think, good way for especially young Japanese people to just get out there and just have fun and be themselves. And I don't want to come off as being like a cultural expert on Japan or anything. I'm just talking about what I have heard and what I have seen and what I myself have experienced. But ever since I was younger as well, Japan has always been the country where they don't really let the youths have fun. They don't really let the youths to just go out there and explore and show off and not afraid to be a little bit weird. Which you might think is a weird thing considering that Japan is the home of things like cosplay and just weirdness all around. But societally speaking, there is this weird pressure to be normal here. And as everybody knows, with how strict the whole, you know, work culture thing is here in Japan as well, it's just a nice way for even the adults just to get out there and just have some fun. Have an excuse to dress up in some silly shit because you want to and not be afraid to be judged for your outfit or anything. It's also, again, I think a great way for a lot of Japanese people to also interact with not only each other, but also with foreigners as well. See, Japan is interesting because I feel like depending on if you're in the East or the West, the way that Japanese people interact with you as a foreigner, or even just you as a Japanese person, is quite different. Because over in the West, in places like Osaka, for instance, they are a lot more open to talking to strangers. There is a lot more of a stranger friendliness culture that is revolved around the Kansai way. And this is not just limited to Japanese on Japanese conversations. This also applies to Japanese to foreigner conversations as well. When I went out to Osaka with Chad for this past year, you can watch this video for that, then you would have seen multiple times of us being able to talk to the shop owners and the locals who were attending these bars with absolutely zero weirdness. In fact, a lot of the times they were the ones who were engaging in the conversation, not us. Meanwhile, you come over here to Tokyo and people are a little more shut off. They're not as open to starting up a conversation because that whole stranger friendliness thing is still a little bit stiff. And now with all of the weird rumors and the predisposed judgment towards foreigners now, it's even harder for foreigners to interact with Japanese locals without some kind of awkwardness being rubbed off. I think Halloween, in a sense, is a great opportunity for, especially in Tokyo, to really reignite that stranger friendliness that I think Japan kind of needs right now. When you see everyone having fun in this whole party setting out on the street and everyone's just having a good time and, you know, people want to take photos of each other because, oh, you're wearing that costume, oh, sick, dude. You know, that natural ignition of wanting to strike up a conversation with a stranger on the street is, I think, amplified tenfold, 100-fold when thrown into a street party situation like Halloween in Shibuya. So now the question is, well, okay, if you think that there are some merits and demerits for Shibuya to have Halloween, or I guess Tokyo to have Halloween in this way, then what's the best course of action? Rather than taking it out into the streets, I think restaurants and establishments and stuff like that should hold smaller community events indoors. For example, you could hold it out in parks, or you can hold it out in some convention venues. You can hold it out in some bigger malls. Or the alternative, as the community has already done so, is to just move it out of Shibuya. I don't know where the whole Shibuya Halloween thing started. I get why they did it in Shibuya because it's a dope city, but why not other cities? And so that's probably why they thought, oh, let's move it to Shinjuku. There's a lot of space there. Let's move it to Ikebukuro. There's even more space there. But I say keep going. I think a Halloween in Akihabara would be fucking awesome. God, could you imagine weebs coming to Japan during October 31st, going to Akihabara and being like, oh my god, this is not only a city that sells anime stuff, but there are anime characters fucking everywhere. Tokyo's already fucking overcrowded as it is. Why would you even crowd it further by limiting yourself to one city? Look, obviously the best thing to do, I think, would just be to like hold house parties or, you know, go to an izakaya or something, or go to a bar. But again, I think the whole problem is just limiting it to one little area. You know, just expand it out a little bit. Tokyo is quite big, you know. So yeah, that was just my 2 cents on the whole Shibuya Halloween thing. Hopefully, I'll make it there one day, maybe next year. I'm a little bummed out I couldn't go out today to show off my sick YouTuber in 10 years cosplay, but I guess I will instead chill inside today, film a little video like this, and then Aki's probably gonna force me to watch some kind of horror movie, so goddamn, I'm looking forward to that, haha. Anyways, let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, here's a couple more videos you can watch. They're pretty cool. I am genuinely sad I couldn't use this cosplay today. You know, maybe I'll save it for a video or something, but also rate my McDonald's bag. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Peace.